Two alien girls came to Earth as punishment but found love instead. Lyra and Sova stood on the edge of the dark portal. Their ship was small, damaged, and trembling. The Council's voice still echoed in their minds. They were being punished for disobedience during the border patrol. Other alien soldiers had followed orders, but they had acted on their own. The Council decided that their punishment would not be death, but exile. They were to live on a strange, dangerous planet called Earth. The planet was known to be wild, full of humans who were unpredictable and often violent. Neither Lyra nor Sova wanted to go. They had trained all their lives for power and respect, not to live in a world of weakness and chaos. They knew Earth was a low-ranked planet, unimportant in the galactic map. Their punishment was meant to teach them humility and obedience. Yet, as the portal closed behind them, they both felt fear. The air on Earth was different. The gravity was lighter than their home planet, but it felt strange. Colors were muted, and the smell of wet soil and plants was strong. The sky was dark, and clouds moved slowly. They landed near a small town in the middle of a forest. The town was quiet, almost empty. Lyra looked around with her sharp alien eyes, noticing the wooden houses and small fires. Sova shivered. The air was cold, and their bodies still hurt from the portal jump. They had little supplies, only basic clothing and their small communicator, which had limited range on this planet. "We have to find shelter," Lyra whispered. Sova nodded, her large green eyes full of worry. As they walked through the forest, they noticed something strange. Humans moved quickly, but they were cautious, watching the trees and the sky. Lyra had expected fear, but what she saw was curiosity. Humans were not attacking them yet. Instead, a figure appeared from the shadows. He was a young man, not very tall, wearing a simple coat. His hair was brown and messy, and he looked surprised to see them. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. His voice was gentle. Lyra froze. She did not understand his words at first. She turned to Sova, who shook her head slightly. Then the words slowly made sense. They were speaking English. The humans here could communicate, and this one was asking if they were hurt. Lyra stepped forward carefully. "We need help," she said. Her voice sounded strange even to her. Sova held her arm, nervous. The human stepped closer. "Come with me. You can rest at my place." He smiled, not in a threatening way, but in a way that made Lyra feel something unfamiliar. She was used to fear and authority, not kindness. Behind him, another human appeared. She was a young woman with long blonde hair. She carried a basket of food. "You must be hungry," she said, offering it to them. Lyra and Sova exchanged glances. Could humans really be this nice? They had expected attacks, not kindness. The humans led them to a small cabin near the edge of the forest. Inside, there was warmth from a small fire. The smell of cooked food made Lyra's stomach growl, though she tried to hide it. Sova sat down on a wooden chair, her long fingers brushing the rough surface. The humans, Ethan and Lucy, watched carefully, giving them space. Lyra finally spoke. We are not from here," she said. She did not know how much to tell. Humans might be dangerous, but these two seemed different. Lucy nodded. "We can see that. You look tired. Rest for now. We will not hurt you." She smiled warmly, and something inside Sova melted. They were supposed to be punished, yet here were two humans offering help. Lyra felt a mix of suspicion and relief. She had been trained to read situations quickly, to find threats, but here there was none. For the first time in her life, she felt unsure. Over the next few days, Lyra and Sova stayed in the cabin. They learned small things about humans. Ethan showed them how to collect water from the stream and chop firewood. Lucy taught them how to cook simple meals and keep their clothes clean. The alien girls watched quietly, amazed at the humans' patience. Humans had no advanced technology here, no energy shields or fast ships, but they survived. They worked together and cared for each other. Lyra and Sova had never seen such cooperation in their lives. At night, they would talk quietly in their own language. "Do you think this is a trap?" Sova asked one night, looking at the stars through the cabin window. Her voice was soft and full of doubt. Lyra shook her head. I do not know. Humans are strange. They are weaker than us, but there is something else, something strong. Sova frowned. You mean love? Lyra blinked. I do not know that word. Sova smiled faintly. It is what they feel when they care for someone deeply. Maybe that is why they are strong. The alien girls began to feel something new for the humans. Lyra noticed that Ethan's eyes were always calm, and he never shouted even when things went wrong. Sova liked how Lucy laughed easily, even when tired. They had expected fear, but instead they were starting to feel trust. And something else, something warmer. One day, a problem arrived. Lyra and Sova were walking in the forest to gather herbs when they heard loud noises. Humans were shouting and small fires had started near the town. Strange machines appeared at the edge of the trees. Alien soldiers, sent by the Galactic Council, were coming to take the girls back. Lyra's heart raced. They had to protect the humans. For the first time, she did not think about herself or the punishment. She thought about Ethan and Lucy. Sova grabbed her hand. We cannot let them hurt them, she said firmly. Lyra nodded. They used their alien abilities to hide and observe. Their bodies could move faster and see farther than humans, and they quickly found the soldiers' positions. The humans were frightened, but they tried to fight with simple tools. Lyra and Sova realized that humans were brave, not because of power, but because they protected each other. When the soldiers came closer, Lyra and Sova stepped forward. Bright lights shone from their hands and the soldiers froze. Humans stared in awe. Lyra saw Ethan standing behind a tree trying to protect Lucy. She stepped in front of them. Do not touch them, she said in her alien language, though the words were soft and clear. The soldiers hesitated. They were trained to follow orders, but they had not expected resistance from their own kind. For a moment the forest was silent. Then one soldier tried to move forward. Lyra's hand glowed brighter, and a wave of force stopped him. Sova did the same, pushing the others back. The humans looked amazed. They had never seen such powers. Ethan stepped out carefully. Are you helping us? He asked, eyes wide. Lyra nodded. Yes, we will protect you. You are not weak. You are strong in ways we did not understand. The soldiers realized they could not win and retreated. Lyra and Sova watched them go, breathing heavily. The humans slowly came out from hiding. Lucy ran to Sova. You saved us, she said, hugging her tightly. Sova smiled, feeling warmth she had never felt before. Lyra looked at Ethan, who nodded silently. There was respect in his eyes, but also something else. Something that made Lyra's chest tighten. That night, back in the cabin, the girls reflected on what had happened. Their punishment was supposed to teach them humility, but it had taught them more. Humans were not weak, and kindness could be stronger than fear. Love, care, and courage were forms of strength they had never understood. Lyra looked at Sova. We came here to learn humility. Maybe we have learned more than that. Sova smiled softly. Yes, and maybe we can stay a little longer. Lyra nodded. They had been sent as punishment, but Earth was teaching them something their home world never could. The stars were far away and the council might call them back, but for now they were safe. And for the first time they felt something unexpected. They felt hope. Days passed and Lyra and Sova began to live more openly in the town. Humans slowly learned that they were different, but not dangerous. Children were curious and laughed when the girls tried to imitate simple human games. Lyra tried to swing a rope like the children did, and Sova chased a small dog through the fields. Humans were clumsy but full of energy. Watching them, the girls laughed quietly, learning joy in small things. Ethan and Lucy became their guides, their friends, and slowly, something deeper grew. Lyra found herself thinking about Ethan constantly. His calmness, his patience, his courage all drew her in. Sova felt a bond with Lucy she had never felt before. When Lucy laughed, Sova's chest felt warm. They had expected exile and punishment, but instead they had found connection. At night, lying under the stars, they whispered to each other. "We came here as punishment," Lyra said, "but maybe Earth is giving us something else." Sova nodded. "Yes, something humans have that we did not understand before, strength from the heart." And so the first days on Earth ended. The punishment had begun, but the lessons were only starting. Lyra and Sova had arrived as outsiders, weak and afraid, but the humans had shown them courage, kindness, and the strange power of love. The forest around them was quiet, but in the hearts of four beings, two human, two alien, something new was growing. A bond that could change not only their lives but the course of events that were yet to come. Lyra and Sova had begun to feel more comfortable in the human town. Each day they learned something new. Ethan taught them how to fish in the small river that ran past the town. He showed them how to hold the rod, how to feel the line for a bite, and how to stay patient. Lyra was clumsy at first. She often dropped the hook or tangled the line. Sova laughed quietly at her mistakes, and Ethan chuckled too, guiding her hand. Slowly, they caught their first fish together. Lyra felt proud. She had never needed patience before, but here, patience was important. Lucy showed them the human way of farming. They had a small garden with vegetables and herbs. Lucy taught them to plant seeds, water them, and remove weeds. Sova enjoyed the work more than Lyra. She liked touching the soil, feeling the plants grow under her fingers. Lucy explained that humans took time to grow things, just like humans took time to grow themselves. Sova thought about this and realized humans valued effort more than speed. It was a strange lesson for aliens used to instant results. The alien girls began to understand the small joys humans had. In the evenings, they would sit by the fire and listen to Ethan play a simple instrument. Lyra had never heard such music. It was soft, simple, and full of feeling. Sova often hummed along, matching the notes. Music was another kind of human strength, a way to show emotion and connection. The girls realized humans had many ways to be strong that were not physical. During the day, Lyra and Sova sometimes helped the town. They carried water from the stream, helped repair roofs, or collected firewood. The humans watched in surprise. The girls were much faster and stronger than any human, but they chose to work with them, not above them. Slowly, humans began to trust them more. Children ran to them, laughing, and the girls laughed too, feeling a happiness that was new and light. Despite the calm, danger still lurked. The Galactic Council had not forgotten them. Scouts flew through the stars, checking on Earth. The Council sent reports that the girls were living freely among humans, learning attachment and kindness. The Council's idea was to punish the girls, not to allow them to grow soft. But humans had a strange effect. Lyra and Sova were changing in ways the Council had not expected. One evening, Lyra walked with Ethan along the riverbank. The moon reflected on the water, making everything silver and bright. "Why do humans fight when they are afraid?" Lyra asked. Ethan looked thoughtful. "Because they protect what they love. Humans are small and weak compared to the universe, but they are brave when someone they care about is in danger." Lyra nodded slowly. She thought of Sova and Lucy. She thought of the humans in the town. They had fought to protect each other during small problems. Maybe this was the strength humans had. Sova was learning the same lesson in her own way. She helped Lucy cook dinner in the cabin. Lucy showed her how to make bread from simple ingredients. The dough was sticky and soft, and Sova's hands got covered in flour. She laughed when Lucy's hair got flour on it too. They shared the bread when it was done, and Sova felt warmth she had never felt with anyone before. She realized that humans built bonds by helping, sharing, and caring. One morning, the town faced a small crisis. A heavy storm had flooded part of the fields, and the river was rising. Humans were frightened. Ethan and Lucy worked hard to save crops and secure homes. Lyra and Sova joined in without hesitation. Their alien strength made the work easier. Lyra lifted fallen logs while Sova helped move water away from the houses. Humans watched in awe. Even in a storm, they were not alone. Lyra and Sova were with them, not to control but to help. Through these days, the girls began to understand human emotions better. Fear, love, hope, joy, and sadness were all real, powerful, and sometimes stronger than physical strength. Lyra noticed how Ethan's calm words reassured people. Sova saw how Lucy's smile gave courage to frightened children. Humans were fragile but resilient, small but mighty in ways aliens rarely understood. The alien girls also learned to speak English better. At first they spoke slowly, missing many words, but humans were patient, correcting them gently. Slowly they could understand most conversations. Sova often asked questions about feelings. "Why do humans smile when they are sad?" she asked Lucy one night. Lucy laughed softly. "Sometimes smiling helps them feel better. Humans hold happiness even in hard times." Sova thought about this. The human mind was strange but clever. One day, while exploring the forest near the town, Lyra and Sova discovered a small group of human children playing near the river. They were laughing, throwing stones, and chasing each other. Lyra wanted to stay hidden at first, but the children noticed them and waved. Slowly the girls joined the game. Children climbed on their backs, ran around them, and giggled. For the first time, Lyra and Sova felt pure joy, free from fear or punishment. Humans could teach happiness as easily as survival. Evenings were quiet. Lyra would often sit near the river and watch the stars. She missed home but also felt a strange attachment to Earth. Ethan would sometimes join her. They spoke quietly about small things, the stars, the weather, and the forest. Lyra realized she liked him, not just as a friend, but in a way she had never felt before. It was confusing but not unpleasant. Sova noticed similar feelings for Lucy, especially when Lucy laughed at her small mistakes or shared stories about the town. Despite the peace, the council was not done. Scouts had reported the alien girls' growing attachment to humans. The council considered this dangerous. Aliens were not supposed to care for weaker species. It could make them soft and unreliable. Soon the council decided to send a small retrieval team. Their goal was simple: take the girls back no matter the cost. Lyra and Sova sensed this threat before it arrived. Their alien senses were sharp, and the council's energy signatures were detectable. They prepared quietly. Lyra and Sova knew they could not let humans be hurt. They trained in secret, practicing small abilities like creating light barriers and moving objects slightly with their minds. Humans had no idea of the danger coming, but the girls could feel it growing closer every day. The bond they had formed with Ethan, Lucy, and the townspeople gave them strength. For the first time, they were not thinking about themselves alone. Then, one morning, strange shadows appeared at the edge of the forest. The council's retrieval team had arrived. They were armed and moving fast, sending signals to each other in alien code. Lyra and Sova watched silently from the trees. They saw humans gathering, confused and frightened. The children ran to their parents and the adults tried to hide, unsure what was happening. Lyra felt a protective instinct she did not understand. She stepped forward, sending a small pulse of light that made the retrieval team pause. Sova joined her, her own powers glowing softly. Ethan and Lucy saw the girls' actions. "They are helping us," Lucy shouted, relief in her voice. Lyra nodded at them. "Stay back, we will protect you." Humans moved behind trees, watching. Lyra and Sova faced the retrieval team. The aliens were trained soldiers, ready to take the girls by force. But Lyra and Sova had something the council had not counted on: their connection to humans. The retrieval team tried to move forward. Lyra used her strength to push the first alien back without hurting him seriously. Sova created a small barrier of light that stopped another. Humans watched in awe. They were weak physically but brave in spirit. Ethan shouted encouragement to them. "Stay together, we are not alone." The humans began to help in small ways, throwing stones, blocking paths, and warning of movements. Their courage made Lyra and Sova stronger. The fight was brief but intense. The retrieval team realized they could not win. Lyra and Sova's combined powers, along with human courage, were more than they expected. Slowly, the aliens retreated, leaving the town behind. Humans cheered, amazed at what had happened. They had witnessed alien power and survived, not because of technology, but because of bravery and trust. After the battle, Lyra and Sova helped heal small injuries among the humans. Ethan and Lucy thanked them, their faces full of relief. "You saved us," Ethan said. Lyra shook her head. "We only could because you did not run. You fought with courage. Humans are stronger than we expected." Sova smiled at Lucy. "And we have learned. Humans have hearts that can be stronger than weapons." That night, the town was quiet again. Lyra and Sova reflected on the events. They had been sent as punishment, but humans had taught them lessons about courage, hope, and connection. Lyra looked at Ethan, her feelings growing stronger. Sova glanced at Lucy, her heart beating faster. They had learned that strength came not only from power, but from caring and trusting. The alien girls understood that Earth was changing them. Their punishment had started, but it was teaching more than obedience. They had found friendship, trust, and a strange kind of love. The bond between humans and aliens had begun. The Council's plans could not control it, and perhaps never would. Lyra whispered to Sova before they slept. "We came here as punishment, but maybe Earth is showing us another path." Sova nodded, smiling softly. "Yes, and we are not alone anymore." Outside, the forest was calm, the stars shining brightly. Inside the cabin, warmth spread from fire and hearts alike. The town was quiet in the early morning, the mist rising from the river and covering the fields. Lyra and Sova had been awake for hours, watching the forest. They had sensed something. The retrieval team from the Galactic Council was not done. Their last attempt had failed, but new forces were coming. Lyra could feel it in the air, the subtle vibrations that only aliens could sense. Sova, standing beside her, felt it too. "We need to warn the town," Lyra said quietly. "Humans do not understand what is coming." Sova nodded. They moved swiftly through the trees, invisible to the humans below. The town was small, with wooden houses and narrow paths, but that would not protect them from advanced alien soldiers. Lyra knew the humans were brave, but bravery alone could not stop powerful enemies. Ethan and Lucy were already awake, helping the townspeople with daily chores. Lyra and Sova approached them carefully. "Something is coming," Lyra said. Her voice was serious, not harsh. Ethan frowned. "Coming? What do you mean?" Lyra glanced around to make sure no one else was listening. "The council. They are sending more soldiers. They want us back." Ethan blinked, trying to understand. "You mean aliens?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, strong soldiers. They will not stop for anything. We must prepare." Lucy looked frightened, but she trusted Sova. "We will help," she said. "We can do what we can." Sova smiled. "That is all we need. Humans do not need weapons to fight courageously. Your spirit is enough." The townspeople gathered as Lyra and Sova explained the situation. At first, humans were confused. "How can we fight aliens?" one man asked, his voice trembling. Ethan stepped forward. "We fight together. We protect each other. That is how we survive." Lyra added, "I will help. Sova will help, but we cannot do it alone. Humans must fight with their courage, their hearts." Preparations began. Simple barriers were built from wood and stone. The townspeople sharpened tools, sticks, and farming implements. Children were kept inside homes, though some watched curiously. Lyra and Sova demonstrated how to hide and use the terrain to their advantage. Even without advanced technology, humans could defend themselves if they worked together. As the sun rose higher, strange shadows appeared at the edge of the forest. The retrieval team had arrived. Lyra and Sova could see the soldiers' armor, sleek and deadly. Their weapons glowed with energy. The humans gasped, stepping back, but Ethan held his ground. "We are ready," he said quietly. Lucy held her hands over the children, her face determined. The first alien soldier stepped forward. Lyra moved quickly, her body faster than any human could follow. She created a pulse of light that forced him to pause. Sova did the same with another soldier, forming a barrier that made them stumble. The humans were amazed. They had never seen anything like this, yet they began to understand. The aliens were powerful, but they could be challenged if humans acted wisely. The battle began. Lyra and Sova coordinated with the humans, guiding them to higher ground and safer positions. Ethan shouted instructions, moving from place to place. He told the farmers to throw heavy stones at the approaching soldiers. The soldiers hesitated, surprised by the humans' determination. Lyra glanced at the humans and smiled faintly. Their courage was growing stronger, and that strength was visible. Lucy worked with the women and children, moving supplies and helping anyone who was hurt. She carried water to keep the workers hydrated and gave simple advice on how to dodge the soldiers' attacks. Sova stayed close, using her powers to shield people from minor attacks. The humans learned quickly, understanding that their courage could make the difference. The soldiers tried to push forward, but Lyra and Sova's strategy was effective. They guided humans to create traps, using logs, nets, and simple barriers. One soldier tripped over a fallen log, another was slowed by a pit disguised with branches. The humans worked together, not as individuals, but as a team. Their strength was in unity. During the battle, Lyra saw Ethan in danger. A soldier had grabbed him, trying to pull him away. Without hesitation, Lyra rushed forward, using a force push to knock the soldier back. Ethan fell, gasping, but he was unharmed. Lyra extended a hand to help him up. "We fight together," she said softly. Ethan nodded, understanding more than words could explain. Sova noticed Lucy facing a different threat. A soldier had aimed a weapon toward the cabin where children were hiding. Sova created a shield of light, absorbing the attack. Lucy ran forward and pulled the children to safety. They hid behind a stone wall, their faces pale but relieved. Sova smiled at Lucy. "You are brave," she said. Lucy shook her head. "We are all brave. We fight because we must." The battle continued through the day. The humans' courage and quick thinking surprised the soldiers. They were used to weaker species fleeing or surrendering, but the humans fought with determination and teamwork. Lyra and Sova realized that humans' real strength was not in technology or size, but in their hearts. Courage, love, and loyalty were weapons more powerful than energy guns. As the sun began to set, the soldiers started to retreat. They realized they could not defeat the humans and the aliens together. Lyra and Sova let them leave, watching carefully until they disappeared into the forest. The humans cheered, exhausted but proud. They had faced impossible odds and survived. Lyra and Sova felt something warm inside them. Pride, yes, but also admiration. Humans were different from what they had expected, stronger in ways aliens rarely understood. After the battle, the town began to recover. Injuries were treated, homes repaired, and the fields checked for damage. Ethan and Lucy worked alongside Lyra and Sova. The girls had taught humans to use strategy and courage, and humans had taught the girls about bravery and heart. The connection between alien and human had grown stronger. That night, the town gathered around a fire. They shared food and water, telling stories of the day. Children laughed even after seeing danger. Lyra and Sova sat quietly observing. They had expected punishment, fear, and pain, but instead they had found connection, respect, and trust. The humans had taught them lessons they would never forget. Ethan spoke to the group. "Today we learned that we are stronger than we thought. We are not weak. We are brave and we fight for each other. That is what matters." Lyra nodded. She turned to Sova. "The council sent us to punish ourselves, but humans have taught us a different lesson. Strength comes from the heart." Sova smiled. "Yes, and we are part of that strength now." The night was quiet, but the stars above reminded them that the galaxy was still watching. The council might return stronger and more prepared. Lyra and Sova understood that the battle had been won, but the war was not over. Yet they no longer feared. They had humans beside them, brave and true, and together they could face anything. As they lay down to rest, Lyra thought about Ethan. She had grown to admire his calmness, his courage, and his way of seeing the world. Sova thought about Lucy, who had laughed, cared, and fought beside her. Love was something the girls had never considered before, but now it felt real and strong. It was another form of power, different from anything they had known. In the early hours, Lyra whispered to Sova, "We came here as punishment, but maybe the council did not understand. Earth is teaching us lessons they cannot control." Sova nodded. "Yes. Humans are more than they appear, and we are more than punishment. We are learning. We are changing." The town rested that night, tired but safe. The bond between humans and aliens had grown stronger, forged in courage and trust. Lyra and Sova had come to Earth as exiles, but now they were protectors, friends, and perhaps something more. They had found strength in humans, and humans had found courage in themselves. The battle was over, but the future remained uncertain. The council might return, the galaxy might judge them, and dangers would still come. Yet for the first time, Lyra and Sova felt hope. They were not alone. They had humans beside them, and together they could face whatever the stars would send. And so the aliens and humans sat under the quiet sky, sharing warmth, food, and the silent understanding that they were no longer separate. Their fates had collided, not by chance, but by the strange, unpredictable power of courage, love, and heart. The galaxy was vast, but here on Earth, a small town had shown that humanity could be stronger than any force in the universe. The town had recovered from the recent attack, but the tension was still in the air. Lyra and Sova could feel it. The council would not forget so quickly, and the next time they came, the humans might not be ready. Yet, for the first time, the girls felt something different. They were no longer just aliens sent for punishment. They were friends, allies, and something more. Lyra walked with Ethan through the fields. The sun was warm, and the wind moved the tall grass gently. Lyra watched him carefully. He was not like the other humans she had seen during her life in the galaxy. He did not have advanced armor, powerful weapons, or a command of soldiers. He had only his courage, his patience, and his heart. Yet he had helped defeat alien soldiers before. He had protected his people. Lyra realized she had grown to admire him deeply. Ethan noticed Lyra's gaze. "You are quiet today," he said. He smiled faintly, brushing dirt from his hands. Lyra's heart raced. She had never expected to feel this for a human. "I think about what humans can do," she said carefully. "Your courage, it is surprising," Ethan laughed softly. "We do what we must. We protect each other, that is all." Lyra nodded. She wanted to say more, but words failed her. Her feelings were strange, strong, and new. Sova was spending time with Lucy in the cabin. Lucy was teaching Sova to make clothes from simple cloth and thread. Sova's hands were clumsy at first, but Lucy was patient. They laughed together when Sova's stitches were uneven. Lucy glanced at Sova and smiled. "You are improving," she said softly. Sova felt her chest tighten. She realized she cared for Lucy more than she expected. Something warm and unfamiliar spread inside her. She was not just thinking of survival anymore. She was thinking of connection, of love. That evening, the town gathered by the river. The children played, humans talked, and the air felt calm. Lyra and Sova watched from a distance. For the first time, they felt like part of this small human world. It was peaceful, yet they knew danger was coming. The council had not forgiven disobedience, and their spies would soon report Earth's defiance. But here, for a moment, there was calm, and that was enough. Suddenly, a strange signal appeared in the sky. Lyra's eyes widened. "The council," she whispered. Sova's hands clenched. "They are coming again." Ethan noticed their reaction. "What is it?" he asked. Lyra stepped forward. "We must prepare. They will not send just scouts this time. They will come fully armed." The town responded quickly. Humans moved to reinforce barriers, collect tools, and make plans. Lyra and Sova coordinated them, showing how to hide, how to protect key areas, and how to move quickly. Ethan and Lucy led the townspeople, inspired by the girls' confidence. The humans worked tirelessly. They were ordinary people, yet they prepared for war with courage that amazed Lyra and Sova. As night fell, the council's fleet appeared. Ships hovered above the town, glowing with alien energy. Soldiers descended, armed and ready. Lyra and Sova stood at the front, watching. Their alien powers were strong, but the council's soldiers were trained and numerous. The girls looked at Ethan and Lucy. "We fight together," Lyra said. "We do not leave anyone behind." The battle began under the moonlight. Lyra and Sova moved with precision, using their powers to protect humans and block attacks. Ethan coordinated groups of townspeople, guiding them to hold key positions. Lucy helped evacuate children and carry supplies. Humans acted fearlessly, even against superior enemies. Lyra watched them, amazed. Their courage was not just bravery, it was love for each other, and that love made them unstoppable. In the midst of the battle, Lyra noticed Ethan in danger. A soldier had aimed at him, but she moved swiftly, throwing herself between them. Light pulsed from her hands, knocking the soldier away. Ethan gasped but was unharmed. Lyra felt her heart race. "Are you okay?" she asked. Ethan nodded, brushing dirt from his coat. "Thanks to you," he said quietly. Lyra realized she wanted to protect him, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. Sova saw Lucy facing a similar threat. Soldiers aimed weapons toward the cabin where children were hiding. Sova created a shield, absorbing the attack. Lucy ran forward, guiding children to safety. When they reached the riverbank, Sova joined them, breathing heavily but smiling. "You are brave," Sova said softly. Lucy shook her head. "We are all brave. We fight because we must." Sova nodded, understanding that bravery was stronger when shared. The humans surprised the council's soldiers at every turn. Logs blocked paths, traps slowed movements, and quick thinking caused confusion. Ethan shouted instructions, and the townspeople obeyed without hesitation. Lyra and Sova realized that humans' greatest weapon was their unity. Even weak, unarmed humans could challenge soldiers who relied on strength and technology alone. As dawn approached, the battle slowed. The council's soldiers were exhausted and confused. They had not expected humans to fight with such courage and strategy. Slowly, the soldiers retreated, disappearing into the forest. The humans cheered, exhausted but proud. Lyra and Sova looked at each other, feeling relief and admiration for the humans they had come to care for. After the battle, the town began to recover. Injuries were treated, homes repaired, and supplies distributed. Humans had learned courage, and aliens had learned connection. Lyra and Sova spent time with Ethan and Lucy, not just teaching or protecting but sharing moments of quiet peace. Lyra walked with Ethan along the river, watching the sunrise. "Humans are different from what I expected," she said softly. Ethan smiled. "We are not perfect, but we try. We protect those we love." Lyra felt her chest tighten. She wanted to say more, but instead she took his hand quietly. Sova spent time with Lucy, helping organize supplies for the town. Lucy laughed at Sova's clumsy movements, and Sova laughed too, feeling joy she had never known. "You make life brighter," Lucy said softly. Sova blushed. "You too. Humans, you teach us more than the council ever could." Days passed, and the girls realized that Earth had changed them. They were no longer only punished aliens. They were part of this small world. They had learned courage, love, and humility. Lyra and Sova understood that their feelings for humans were real, not a distraction. Love had grown between them and the humans, and it was a bond stronger than punishment or fear. One evening, Lyra and Sova met under the stars. "We came here as punishment," Lyra said, "but we have found something else, something the council cannot take." Sova nodded. "Love, connection, courage. Humans have hearts stronger than any weapon, and we feel it too." They looked at each other, understanding without words. Their exile had become a journey of discovery, not just about humans, but about themselves. The Council's forces had been repelled, but the galaxy would not forget. Lyra and Sova knew the final decision would come. They could return to their home world, leaving humans behind, or stay and face whatever consequences might follow. The choice was theirs, and it was difficult, yet they had found bonds they could not ignore. Lyra walked to Ethan the next morning. "The Council may call us back," she said softly. Ethan nodded, worry in his eyes. "What will you do?" Lyra looked at him. "I do not know. But I know I cannot leave you or this town. You have shown me strength I never understood." Ethan smiled faintly, taking her hand. "Then we face it together." Sova spoke to Lucy later near the river. "I feel something for you. Something I do not understand, but it is strong." Lucy smiled, brushing water from her hands. "I feel it too. We have shared danger, laughter, and fear. I cannot ignore it." Sova felt her chest warm. "Then we stay, no matter what comes." The Council had punished them, but Earth had given them more. Lyra and Sova had learned humility, courage, and love. Humans had shown them the strength of hearts, the power of unity, and the meaning of true bravery. Together, aliens and humans had faced impossible odds and survived. And together, they would face whatever came next. That night, the town rested. Fires burned softly, children slept, and the humans who had faced the Council's soldiers finally found peace. Lyra and Sova walked among them quietly, watching and listening. The love between humans and aliens had grown. Bonds had been forged in fear, courage, and care. And the girls understood that punishment had turned into something greater. "Earth is teaching us lessons the Council never could," Sova whispered. Lyra nodded. "Yes, courage, connection, love, this is strength." They looked at the stars, knowing the galaxy was vast, but for now they were home. With humans, with each other, they had found something worth protecting. And so, the alien girls, sent to Earth as punishment, had discovered love instead. They had found friendship, courage, and connection. The Council might return, the galaxy might judge, but for now, the bonds they had formed were stronger than fear. Lyra held Ethan's hand, Sova held Lucy's, and together they faced the future, ready for whatever came next. The morning sun rose gently over the small town, casting a warm light on the fields and houses. Lyra and Sova stood quietly at the edge of the forest, looking at the humans below. They had faced danger, learned courage, and discovered feelings they did not understand before. Now, a new challenge awaited them, the decision of the Galactic Council. The Council had sent a message through the stars. They wanted the girls back. They had watched Earth carefully and were surprised. Humans had fought, survived, and even helped the aliens. The Council had expected failure and weakness, but they had not counted on courage, unity, and the strange power humans called love. Lyra and Sova knew the Council's ships would arrive soon to enforce their decision. Ethan approached Lyra quietly, taking her hand. "What will you do?" he asked. Lyra looked at him, her green eyes reflecting the sunlight. "I do not know," she said honestly. "The Council has power, we are supposed to return. But leaving would mean abandoning you, the town, everything we have learned." Ethan nodded, understanding. "We will face it together," he said. "Whatever you choose, we stand by you." Lyra felt warmth spread through her chest. For the first time, she realized that love was not weakness, it was strength. Sova stood beside Lucy, watching the children play by the river. "I never expected to feel this," Sova said softly. "I thought humans were weak, simple, and unworthy of attention, but I was wrong. They are brave, clever, and full of heart." Lucy smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "And you are part of that now," she said. Sova felt a wave of happiness. The Council had sent them as punishment, but Earth had given them a new purpose. Soon the Council's ships appeared on the horizon. They were large, imposing, and surrounded by a fleet of smaller fighters. The townspeople watched with fear, unsure what would happen. Lyra and Sova stepped forward, standing beside Ethan and Lucy. "We face them," Lyra said. "Not as victims, but as protectors." The council's leader, a tall alien with cold blue eyes, spoke through a holographic projection. "Lyra, Sova, you have disobeyed orders. You will return immediately or we will take you by force." Lyra stepped forward. "We will not return. We have learned more here than you could ever teach. Humans have strength you do not understand. And we choose to stay." The council leader's expression hardened. "You risk punishment, dishonor, and exile from all ranks of your people. This is insubordination." Lyra and Sova glanced at the humans who stood behind them courageously. Ethan raised his voice. "We are not afraid. You have underestimated humans. We fight for our home and we fight with them." Lucy added, "And love is stronger than fear." "That is what you cannot control." The council paused. Their agents had studied thousands of species across the galaxy, but never had they seen this. Humans standing strong against advanced alien power, guiding aliens themselves, and defending each other without fear. Lyra and Sova's choice was unusual, but it reflected a truth the council had ignored for centuries. Courage and love were real forces, sometimes stronger than technology or authority. The council leader spoke again. "You are defying orders. You know the consequences." Lyra and Sova nodded. "We do, but leaving would mean abandoning those who trusted us. We cannot do that." Ethan and Lucy held their hands, showing unity. The council observed quietly, perhaps for the first time unsure how to respond. Hours passed as the fleet hovered above. The humans and aliens waited, tense but united. Finally, the council leader spoke. "Your actions are unexpected. You have shown strength, loyalty, and courage. Perhaps the council has misjudged humans. Perhaps they are not weak." Lyra and Sova exchanged a glance, hope rising in their hearts. The decision came slowly. The council could have punished the girls, but they recognized something they had never considered. Humans, with their courage, connection, and love, had influenced Lyra and Sova in ways no one could force. The council's power was great, but even they could not erase bonds forged in trust and care. Finally, the council leader nodded. "We will not force you to return. Earth will remain under observation, but you are free. You may stay." The humans cheered, and Lyra and Sova felt relief and happiness they had never imagined. Their punishment had become freedom, not through defiance alone, but through courage, love, and connection. The council had learned something too. Strength came in many forms, not all of them measurable with weapons or ranks. The town celebrated. Fires burned brightly in the evening and humans shared food and stories. Children laughed, running through the fields without fear. Lyra and Sova joined them, playing games and helping the youngest ones. For the first time, the aliens felt joy, not as visitors, but as part of this small human community. Ethan and Lyra walked along the river later, the stars reflecting on the water. "You stayed," he said softly. Lyra nodded. "Because leaving would mean leaving you, leaving this town. We learned that courage, love, and loyalty are stronger than fear. I could not abandon that." Ethan smiled. "I'm glad you stayed. We will face the future together." Lyra reached out and held his hand, feeling warmth and connection stronger than anything she had known on her home planet. Sova and Lucy sat near the cabin, watching the fireflies in the grass. "You stayed too," Lucy said with a soft smile. Sova nodded, her green eyes reflecting the light. "I could not leave. You, the children, the town, humans are more than I imagined. I care for you." Lucy reached out, holding her hand. "And I care for you. Together, we are stronger than anyone could predict." The days that followed were peaceful but full of learning. Lyra and Sova taught humans some basic alien skills: small energy pulses for protection, faster reflex training, and methods to sense danger. Humans adapted quickly, learning not just skills, but lessons about courage and unity. Lyra realized that humans were not weak at all. They were capable of extraordinary things when guided and inspired. Ethan and Lucy became close friends and partners of the aliens, forming bonds that went beyond simple friendship. Lyra and Sova experienced love in a way they had never known. It was not about power, control, or status. It was about trust, care, and shared courage. Every touch, every laugh, every moment together strengthened the connection between human and alien. The town flourished. Humans and aliens worked together to improve the farms, the houses, and the lives of everyone in the community. They built simple devices using human knowledge and alien insight. The children grew up learning courage, compassion, and the strength of connection. Lyra and Sova watched with pride as humans discovered their own hidden power. One evening, as the sun set, Lyra looked toward the stars. She thought about her home planet, the council, and the punishment she had received. "We were sent here to learn humility," she said softly to Sova. "But we learned more than that. We learned love, courage, and what it means to protect others." Sova nodded. "And humans learned too. They are brave, clever, and full of heart. We have all changed." Ethan joined them, taking Lyra's hand. Lucy stood beside Sova, holding her hand as well. The four of them looked out at the town, the children playing, the fires burning, and the forest surrounding them. "We are home," Ethan said quietly. "Together," Lyra smiled. "Yes, together." The Council's presence in the galaxy continued, but Earth was no longer just a low-ranked death world. Humans had proven their strength, and Lyra and Sova had proven their choice. They had arrived as punishment, but they had found love, friendship, and purpose. Their lives were forever changed, and so was the galaxy in small but important ways. As night fell, the town rested peacefully. The stars above shone brightly, as if celebrating the unity of humans and aliens. Lyra and Sova walked among the humans, laughing and talking, feeling warmth and belonging. Ethan and Lucy stayed close, and together they dreamed of a future full of possibilities. The Council could not erase the bonds formed here, nor could they diminish the lessons learned. For the first time, Lyra and Sova understood that punishment could become opportunity, fear could become courage, and exile could become home. The humans had taught them more than the Council ever could, and the aliens had taught humans that strength comes in many forms. Together they had created something new, a bond of love, unity, and courage that no force in the galaxy could destroy. The days turned into weeks, and life in the town continued. Lyra and Sova found joy in ordinary moments, helping with chores, laughing with children, walking with Ethan and Lucy. They had learned patience, humility, and the value of connection. Humans had learned to trust aliens, and aliens had learned to care for humans. It was a partnership that promised growth, happiness, and hope for the future. One night, under a sky full of stars, Lyra turned to Ethan. "We came as punishment, but we stayed for love and courage. That is our choice." Ethan nodded, holding her hand tightly. "And we will face the future together, no matter what comes." Sova and Lucy shared a quiet smile, knowing the same truth. They had found love, courage, and home in a place they had never expected. The Council might continue to watch, the galaxy might judge, but for now, Earth was safe, and the bonds formed between humans and aliens were unbreakable. Lyra and Sova had arrived as exiles, but they had discovered something far greater than punishment. They had found love, belonging, and a future worth fighting for. And so, the story of the two alien girls who came to Earth as punishment ended not with fear or regret, but with hope, courage, and love. Together with humans, they had created a world where strength was measured not by weapons or power, but by heart, unity, and the courage to care for one another. Lyra held Ethan's hand. Sova held Lucy's. They stood under the stars, smiling. The galaxy could wait. Earth had shown them that the greatest power in the universe was not domination, but love, and they would protect it forever.